It's the FA Cup final weekend, and well, thanks for joining us. This is United Today. We've got updates on some team news regarding the FA Cup final between Manchester United and Manchester City. Is this the time for us to revenge? We've got news around the team for you here on United Today, and also, the future of Erik ten Hag will still linger around till we are done with the FA Cup. I believe we are getting very close to a determination on whether he stays or whether he leaves. But there's been some updates on Erik ten Hag. We'll get you that news here on United Today. Also, we've got some transfer news, and also Dan Ashworth, Newcastle United and Manchester United are still in a tussle. Where are we with regards to Dan Ashworth assuming his position as director of football at Manchester United? We've got all of this here on United Today. Stick and stay with us. We are going for a quick break. When we come back, I have a very important announcement for all Man United fans in Ghana or in Accra who would want to enjoy the FA Cup final. I have some news for you. We'll be right back after this, but remember to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell every single time. Please help us. Let's grow this community together. We'll be right back after this here on United Today. All right, thank you very much and welcome back to United Today. My name is Kwame. It's always a pleasure to come your way with United Today. Like I said, if this is the first time you are listening to us or watching us, or if you've been watching and you've not subscribed yet, please remember to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. So, if you're a Manchester United fan and you are in Ghana and you are in Accra, well, I have news for you. So, the Ghana Manchester United Supporters Union has put together this interesting viewing party for the FA Cup final here in Accra. So it will be held at Honeysuckle just around airport, and it starts at 1:30. Please remember, if you're a United fan, please join the fun. There will be a lot to happen. There's a big screen with a lot of food to eat and drink and a lot of activities that will be happening there. We'll be there as well to stream it live for you to watch here on this channel. We hope you would join the team there so that you would have fun while watching the game with other Manchester United fans. So let's get straight into Manchester United today. So, well, United released some training pictures ahead of the FA Cup final against Manchester City. A few players were spotted, and one of the key players that was spotted is Mason Mount, who has been out injured. As you know, Mount has experienced some very, very difficult times this season where he's not been able to feature regularly for the club as a result of the injuries that he's had this season, and he was spotted. As you know, a lot of players are also coming back. Victor Lindelof was also sidelined a month ago after he sustained an injury, and Victor Lindelof was seen in training. As you know, Lisandro Martinez and Rafael Varane were involved in the last Premier League game against Brighton. Anthony Martial, who is leaving the club by the end of this summer, was also spotted in training. Will it be a last dance for Anthony Martial? Also, will he be involved in the final game that will be played in the FA Cup? Well, we would want to see what happens with regard to that. But the good news is that a lot of the players have returned. It looks as if we are getting a full house. Just a few players are not available at the moment, and one of these key players is Luke Shaw, who is still not ready and has been called into the English national team, and will be ready for the Euros, but he won't be able to play in the FA Cup final for Manchester United. So that's it with team news ahead of the FA Cup. Tomorrow we'll be having United and Everything Football podcast, where we'll be delving a lot more deeper into the game, and also giving you a lot more perspective, a bit of historical backgrounds to some of the issues with regards to the FA Cup final. All right, so that's it with regards to the build-up to the FA Cup final. Now, let's get back to Erik ten Hag. His future, if you follow a lot of the media or the things that happens on social media and a bit of reports, every single day there is some news on Erik ten Hag's future because of the kind of season we've had and the way the new owners or the new part owners would want to operate. So one very reliable media, Di Marzio in Italy, has said something very interesting with regards to Manchester United coach Erik ten Hag's future. Now, he has reported that at the end of the season, Manchester United will bid Erik ten Hag goodbye, and it is certain that they will be saying goodbye to him. He is very sure of that Erik ten Hag will be leaving United at the end of the season. And he just didn't end there. He talked about some coaches that have been lined up to replace Erik ten Hag when he leaves Manchester United. One of these names is Kieran McKenna, who is the coach of Ipswich. Until recently, or before taking over the job at Ipswich, he was the assistant coach to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, assistant coach to Jose Mourinho, and worked a bit with Ralph Rangnick when he became the interim coach of Manchester United. And we all know the amazing work that McKenna has done, picking Ipswich from League One and qualifying them into the Championship and qualifying them into the Premier League. And is a subject of a lot of interest from Chelsea, from Brighton, and other teams that would want his services. Now, Di Marzio is reporting that McKenna's name has come up as some of the coaches that are likely to replace Erik ten Hag. Mauricio Pochettino, no more with Chelsea, left Chelsea by mutual consent. His name has also been up with regards to the job at Manchester United. We all know Pochettino. He's been linked with Manchester United. In fact, he was in competition with Erik ten Hag for this role. It is expected, or it is believed that Ineos, have some belief or have some that Pochettino is one of the names that Ineos would want to speak to should they sack Erik ten Hag or should they relieve Erik ten Hag of his position. Not just him, Roberto De Zerbi, who recently left his role as coach at Brighton and Hove Albion, is also one name that has been linked. A lot of names keeps coming. As you know, in our previous episode, I've been mentioning a lot of the names that keeps coming, but it's just not going away for Erik ten Hag. But let's listen to one other man called Fabrizio Romano. Romano is one of the top transfer gurus when it comes to breaking news with regards to transfers. Now let's listen to what Fabrizio Romano had to say about Erik ten Hag's future at Manchester United.
Internal process to decide on Erik ten Hag's future is still ongoing, but I keep repeating the same. If you are following here on the channel, you know that in the recent days I'm always telling you Erik ten Hag's situation is really open, and it's not just about winning the cup on Saturday. It's a really open situation. In general, anything can happen with Erik ten Hag, and there is a possibility for him to leave Manchester United. Absolutely. It's not just about winning the trophy on Saturday, but to see the attitude, the performance from the squad, and also internally they are planning for things to be discussed as soon as possible to decide on the future of ten Hag. So there is absolutely the possibility of Erik ten Hag fired at Manchester United. It's still not something decided or informing anyone, but for sure the situation of ten Hag is absolutely open, and there is a 50-50 possibility to see his future, and also 50% possibility to see Erik ten Hag leaving Manchester United. And then, guys, let me finish waiting.
So that's Fabrizio Romano. Now he's saying that anything can happen with Erik ten Hag. It's not just about winning the FA Cup. There are internal discussions ongoing, but he's so emphatic that nothing has been decided yet. Nothing has been decided yet. He says it's an open situation. It's open. It's open. So Erik ten Hag can stay or Erik ten Hag can leave the club. So that is where we stand at the moment with regards to the future of Erik ten Hag. Contrasting views, but I'm very certain that after the FA Cup, in a day or two, we will get to know whether Erik ten Hag stays or Erik ten Hag leaves Manchester United. Now, let's quickly switch our attention to a man who has been earmarked to take over the role of the director of football at Manchester United. Now, his name is Dan Ashworth. And Ashworth's name, Ashworth has been in the middle of a tussle between United and Newcastle United. Now, until recently, Ashworth was the director of football for Newcastle United. Now, Ashworth has said that, or has decided to go for arbitration in a bid to resolve the situation between Manchester United himself and the Newcastle United. If you already know the backstory, Newcastle have placed Ashworth on gardening leave and are expecting United to pay a certain amount before they release Dan Ashworth, or they cut down some of his gardening leave so he can serve a shorter period and join Manchester United. Now, there is some interesting development that has come on this issue. As you already know, Ashworth has taken Newcastle to arbitration for it to be resolved. Now, Craig Hope of the Daily Mail came up with a very interesting story. Now, according to him, Dan Ashworth sent an email to Newcastle United to address to his Newcastle United email address to inadvertently to revealing that he was being tapped up by incoming Manchester United CEO Omar Barada. So what it means is that he used his Newcastle United email to send an email to Omar Barada, and Newcastle believe they have intercepted this email, and it is forming the basis for which they have decided to hold on to Ashworth, and that if this matter goes to arbitration, they believe would serve or will give them a good case while dealing with this whole issue. You know, when one is contracted with another company or another football club, the person does not have the right to engage another company or another club. It is referred to as stepping up, and it's an offense. And if Newcastle should report Manchester United to the FA or the Premier League, there are sanctions that are likely to happen. But this is what Craig Hope is saying, that Ashworth was a subject of a tap-up by Omar Barada, who was equally serving gardening leave and was in no capacity to work for Manchester United. So according to Newcastle United, this is what is happening. This is what they are saying with regards to the situation. But Ashworth believes that his departure from Newcastle gives him grounds to argue the gardening leave is null and void, as things were not handled correctly before his departure. That's what Ashworth believes. Now, the argument that he is likely to make, or he reports according to the Telegraph, indicates that Ashworth is going to inform arbitration, or the arbitrators, that Newcastle United didn't follow due process. He didn't even resign. They just placed him on gardening leave. As a matter of fact, he is supposed to tender in a resignation and then they will place him on gardening leave. But it was rather the opposite. So this is the tussle that is happening between Newcastle United, Dan Ashworth, and Manchester United. So a whole lot of legal issues, popping up and dragging the whole issue of Dan Ashworth joining the club, and it's making it very, very difficult for him to start. Newcastle trying to hold firmly onto their situation and are not allowing Dan Ashworth to leave freely. Because they also went through a very difficult time getting Dan Ashworth from Brighton and Hove Albion into their fold. So I believe Newcastle are not acting with class. They are trying to drag this whole issue, making it a lot more difficult. Yeah, someone will say you're a United fan and that's how you're looking at it. But these are two clubs. You look at how City handled the Omar Barada issue. Very smooth, very amicable. Newcastle United, on the other hand, are seeking outrageous amounts in order to release Dan Ashworth, which United is not willing and ready to pay, and this really causing an issue. So the matter is going for arbitration later this month, and we'll see how things go with regards to that. Let's switch a bit more to transfers, and we've been talking a lot about some current players and players wanting to leave and all of that. Now, news coming in that Manchester United midfielder Bruno Fernandes has been offered a major contract by Saudi Arabian side Al Nassr. Now, Bruno wants a new contract at United, but the club are not currently open to sanction a new deal. So the whole Bruno issue is still brewing, and you've heard Bruno talk over the past couple of weeks where he's saying that if the club wants him, he will stay. If the club doesn't want him, he will be open to leave. There have been reports of clubs like Bayern Munich weighing offers for Bruno Fernandes. If you remember, Ineos have just mentioned that three players are just exempt from any form of transfer, and that's Kobe Mainoo, Rasmus Højlund, and Alejandro Garnacho. However, any other player at a good price will be allowed to leave the club, and that's what has caused a lot of issues with regards to Bruno's future and everything. So we'll see how it goes. Now, it was also reported that one player that United wanted to bolster a defense is Tosin Adarabioyo, formerly of Fulham, or his contract ends with Fulham. Now, Newcastle United were ahead in trying to get the signature or in trying to close the deal. But Simon Stone of the BBC is saying that Manchester United have not ended their interest, and as a result of that are still pursuing the deal with Tosin. And that's how that's where the situation is right now. So the reports indicating that Newcastle United are ahead isn't necessarily factual, but as things stand, United are also in the mix. So we'll see how that transfer also goes. So we would have a lot of issues to discuss with regards to the transfers over the course of the summer, and we hope you stick and stay with us with regards to that. So well, that's how I would end today's edition of United Today. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you loved everything that we brought your way here on United Today. Thanks for joining us. Have a great time. You see you on the next one. And remember, Honeysuckle, Saturday, 1:30 p.m., where we'll be having a viewing party for the game between United and Manchester City. We hope you see you there. We catch you on the next one on the United Everything Football Podcast tomorrow. Have a great one. Remember to subscribe. See you on the next one.